facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Like I said, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You're watching here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on all of our awesome feeds. You can find us on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course, as I said before, wakeupcalldt.com. We're inside the Cafe Kubal Studios with locations all throughout central and upstate New York. Make your way to Cafe Kubal today on 3501 James Street, 208 North Townsend Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street, all locations in Syracuse, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and of course out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street, and at Sweetheart Corners on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse. So make your way out there today as well to their drive-through location. We appreciate everyone that supports local here with all of the beautiful companies we have the opportunity of working with in central and upstate New York. So, with that being said, we have an awesome show for you here today. Jam-packed and all CNY broadcast, which I'm very, very excited to have for you this morning. And that broadcast is going to start things off momentarily with Nate Champion, the LeMoyne College Dolphins men's basketball head coach, coming off of their season-opening, thrilling victory, 97-96 on the road against Roberts Wesleyan. And then at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll have my one-on-one conversations with the Syracuse Orange coming off of their 2-0 start and off that victory over Drexel. You'll hear my conversations with Jim Boeheim, the head coach of the team, as well as centers Frank Anselem and Jesse Edwards. And you will hear from forward Cole Swider. And he was wearing a jersey that I'm going to forgive him for, and you'll hear all about that in a second after you hear what jersey he was wearing during our conversation. And then at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll start off the giant high school football game that's coming up this Friday, November 19th in Vestal, New York at 8 p.m. with Union-Endicott's head coach, Tom Baleno, will be joining me from the football program for the Tigers. He joins me in a video special, so you're not going to want to miss watching and hearing that at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And then on the other side of that matchup at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll hear from CBA Brothers head football coach Casey Brown in our video special to round out today's broadcast. So, with all that being said, Nate Champion here with me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, to start things off. Nate, how are we doing this morning?
Good, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nate, here we lost you there for a second, so let's welcome you back in again. Nate, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well, Dan. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely. And Nate, I got to say this first and foremost. I love my hometown of Central New York, but can it please stop raining? Are you over it at this point?
I am. It's kind of that in-between right now where it's like it doesn't know if it wants to really turn into snow or it kind of wants to be nice for a little bit longer, so it's just going to rain. So.
Do you get a good feeling of it, though? I mean, despite the fact that it's cold and rainy, does that, at least signify for you that it truly is basketball season?
Yeah, I mean, when it starts to get colder, I start to get excited. So, the cold definitely resembles basketball, and especially here in Syracuse where, Syracuse and LeMoyne are always competitive and people the city seems to really rally around basketball season. So it kind of takes your mind off of the weather outside, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting the season in full swing and happy that we were able to get a win on Saturday night.
Yeah, you got a win over this past weekend that I definitely want to get into. First, before we get into the game itself, you had a late addition. You had told me prior to this game happening that you might be looking to add another game to the schedule. Bring me into how you and Roberts Wesleyan were able to link up and say, hey, let's add this, because originally your first game was going to be on the road at IUP on November 16th before you came home for Saturday, November 20th. So bring me into why you decided to add this game and just kind of the process of adding the Roberts Wesleyan game.
Yeah, so it was definitely a last-minute thing. Imaged Roberts Wesleyan here, and the day before the scrimmage, we found out that Damon had actually kind of had an outbreak of COVID on the team, so they had to cancel their opening weekend tournament. And so Roberts Wesleyan was looking for games, and after we scrimmaged them here, they were asking if that'd be something we'd be interested in, and I said absolutely. They wanted to have it at their place, which didn't really bother me at all. So once we got the details all worked out, we decided to add it, and it was a really good experience for our guys. One, experiencing winning on the road, but two, playing an experienced group in Roberts Wesleyan. That's going to be a pretty good team in the ECC this year. So it was a great test for us to open up, and it kind of gave us a taste of what life is like on the road. And we'll be right back on the road on Tuesday at IUP.
For you to schedule that, I mean, like you said, you're supposed to scrimmage them and whatnot. So did that, I mean, the fact that you had already kind of game planned and known about Roberts Wesleyan, I mean, did that help you make that decision that you weren't kind of cold turkey trying to rush a scout in there because you had already kind of scouted them?
That definitely gave us a feel for what they're going to try to do, and I thought our game plan was pretty good against them. They executed theirs pretty well, though. I mean, they scored 96 points, and they really shot the ball well all night. And, I give our guys credit for having a lot of resiliency and being able to weather the storms. But, it was good to play Roberts Wesleyan. That was the first time we had played them, whether I was playing here at LeMoyne or as a coach. So it was definitely a good experience and something I hope we can continue to have as we move on in the future.
Speaking here with Nate Champion, the head coach of the LeMoyne Dolphins men's basketball program, coming off of their thrilling victory on the road to start off the season, 97-96 over Roberts Wesleyan. That game, getting almost to 100 points on both sides, just, bring me into the back and forth of this game. If you felt like you had commanded it at any point, if you felt like it was a seesaw type of game, how do you assess it going back and looking at the film as far as how this game kind of went and what you took away from it as far as your team's resolve?
First off, I mean, they, like I said, shot the ball really well, and it seemed like every time we would make a run and kind of extend the lead a little bit, they would come right back. And, the biggest thing that I thought we struggled with was just some decision-making in crucial times with just some poor shot selection and some poor turnovers along with bad communication. And I thought, we just needed to kind of execute a little bit better when we are starting to extend the lead. And that comes with, having a younger team and a new team that's still trying to figure things out. So what I did like about it, though, was, we go down with 8 seconds left and there was no panic. We just got the ball into the paint, and Jeremiah Washington been constant for a little bit of a running layup to seal the win with a second left on the clock, and we ended up stealing the inbounds pass. So it was definitely a back and forth event, but I think it was good to get a win in a situation like that.
Yeah, and to get the victory for this team to start things off. What did your squad show you? Because you have a lot of youth. You don't have a lot of returning. You don't have a lot of players that even if they were had worn that jersey and been on the court for LeMoyne last season, because there wasn't a season last season. So what did it show to you that not only could your team win in a dogfight all the way to the bitter end, but that you're doing it with a lot of guys who haven't been LeMoyne Dolphins in games that actually counted on the schedule yet?
I think the biggest thing that I saw out of our team was just resiliency and resolve, and I think that's great to find on the first night that you play, and I think it's always something where you're confident as the coach and the players that you're putting out on the floor. But when those lights are turned on, you never know how players are going to react, and it was great to see our guys come out and play. I would have liked to defend a little better, but, when a team shoots over 50% for the game, sometimes it doesn't really matter. Defend them, the ball's going to go in. So Um, I think the biggest thing that we got to see and we get to do is learn from a win, and it's a lot easier to do that than it is to learn from a loss. So it's always nice to start 1-0, and that's exactly what we are. And got to really get ready today and be ready for Tuesday night against a really, really good IUP team. So.
That coming here from Nate Champion, the head coach of the LeMoyne Dolphins men's basketball program here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Looking at this game against Roberts Wesley and your starters, everybody scored in double figures except for one who was right there at 8 points. Isaiah Elmore with 8, Jeremiah Washington with 13 in the game, Nino Hernandez 14, Christian Davis with 14, and Kevin Constant leading the pack with 19, and then off the bench, Xavier Wilson gave you 10. So you had 5 players in double figures offensively, and like I said, almost the entire starting 5 in double figures outside of just being 2 points away for Isaiah. Just your take on sharing the ball and how your starters performed in this game, as well as your bench play to really put together the fact that it wasn't just 1 or 2 players doing this, but that the whole team got involved offensively to make sure that you got this victory.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of the way that we play. We always talk about, just everybody's going to have a chance to score and everybody's going to be in opportunities to make plays just because that's the way our offense works. And, to see our starting 5 with, double digits, and if Isaiah, played more minutes, he probably would have been there too. But, the big thing I like is just how well we shared the ball and also how well we finished on the inside. So, I think it's great, and it helps our team see just kind of what we do on the offensive end and how the offense works. Scoring 97 points, I don't think we should ask questions about the offense anymore. So, and I think that's a big thing going forward. You understand that, yes, we are going to score, and we got to take care of things on the defensive end, and I think that's the biggest opportunity for us to get better right now.
And you talked about the fact that, how do you question the offense when you score 97 points, but defensively, what can you take away from that film to say, okay, hey, this is where we need to get better, these are some things that we need to work on, maybe scheming-wise and whatnot. What do you see defensively in a game where it is a shootout? How do you condense that for the next game against IUP and then on from there? What are you seeing on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I think a big thing is we have to stop fouling so much. They're in the bonus with 8 minutes left in the game, and they shot 34 free throws on the night. And for us, it's a big. That's something we talk about all the time, defending without fouling, and I just thought we did a really poor job of that. Later in the halves, both in the first half and second half on Saturday. And to give Roberts Wesley a lot of credit, they shot 13 to 25 from 3, and a lot of those were contested threes. So, when a team is shooting that well, you got to find ways to win. And I thought, we defended them well, and we kind of pressed them a little bit at the beginning of the second half, and that kind of got us a good spark. And I think the biggest thing just going forward is we got to learn how to be disciplined throughout the 40 minutes, and that's something we're working towards. But I did like our guys didn't give up, or they didn't hang their heads for too long. And the biggest thing going forward is we got to learn how to foul or guard without fouling.
And you talk about maturity. Having a young team, having a lot of guys that have not played in a LeMoyne jersey outside of, a couple, outside of playing exhibition this season, like you said, when we were talking about playing in the Dome against Syracuse, you said this is the first time a lot of these guys have worn a jersey and played against somebody else. You talk about trying to get this team to have discipline, and that's going to come over time. What are you doing to teach discipline in practice and teach discipline in general, kind of going over everything, knowing that you have a team that hasn't really been tested collegiately because they haven't played collegiately?
The biggest thing that we can do is just watch the film, learn from the situations that we've been in and try to simulate situations that we're going to be in going forward. We try to do some into the game stuff during practice, and we try to simulate some high stress situations in practice as well as, just making right decisions all the time. And that's kind of the way that we approach it. Just, try to put us in those situations before we get to the game. And I think, we practiced a few of them actually, and one of them specifically was, being up 7 with 2.5 minutes to go. And unfortunately, we didn't execute the way that we needed to put that game away in the last 2.5 minutes. But Roberts Wesleyan made some really big plays, and to their credit, they did a great job of fighting back in those last 2.5 minutes. So it's just a lot of growing up and a lot of figuring out how to win those close games and not let it get to a 1-point game when you're up that amount with that much time left. So a growing opportunity and a learning process for us. So really excited that we're 1-0.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, it's a lot, and it's a lot more fun to learn when you got a victory on your hands here too, which is a big thing to say from all of this. In the matchup, it was pretty even. When we look at steals, you had 9, they had 8, turnovers 16 on both sides, assists you had 10, they had 11. So we're seeing a lot of things that are similar here. But obviously, said you want to condense the fouling at 26 fouls to their 18. But in the rebounding battle, you had 39, they had 36. With that being so close, do you think you did better off the glass? And do you think that those few rebounds of separation, with everything else being so similar, helped you to get the victory? Because I've seen teams win that are out-rebounded. A lot of times, right down the road from you, Syracuse gets out-rebounded, but they find a way to win. Did a game where statistically across the board you looked pretty similar and you paralleled each other a lot, a couple more rebounds, do you think that helped you get some of the separation here?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I thought we gave up a lot of offensive rebounds. They had 13 offensive rebounds on Saturday night, and just can't give up that many offensive rebounds. It's just, this is not going to win you too many games giving up 13 offensive rebounds. But, I did think with our 12, we, evened that out a little bit, and I really thought the biggest thing for us was just points in the paint, and we outscored them 58-28 in that category, and I thought that kind of really got us over the hump. We didn't shoot the ball well from 3, and we're only 2 of 11. They were 13 of 25, so we had to even it out at some point, but I thought just the points in the paint ended up being an advantage for us.
Yeah, and like you had made mention, this team made 13 3-point shots. Rarely do you beat a team that does something like that. So, like you said, points in the paint and taking care of around the rim and doing what you need to do. Your team was 2 of 11 from 3. Did you like the fact that they didn't force the 3, saying, okay, you know what, it's not dropping, so we're going to have to find another way? Some teams, especially in a close game, will force those outside shots, and your team obviously knew that being in the paint was a lot better of an option in this matchup when the shots weren't falling. So did you like the fact that they were able to kind of transition themselves instead of trying to force the 3, playing up against a team that was doing so well from beyond the arc?
Yeah, I did. I thought, we took 3s when we had them. We had a couple that were poor selection, but the biggest thing that I liked was we took what they gave us, and they were really trying to defend the 3-point line, and we ended up getting into the paint, scoring inside, and I thought that was good recognition from our guys to take what they gave us and take advantage of that. And I definitely don't think 2 of 11 is a resemblance of the way we can shoot the ball, but for this game it was, and finding a way to win was extremely important in that situation. Going forward, obviously different games are going to present different opportunities, and we got to be able to score in all different ways, which I think we can.
Yeah, and you got an awesome week coming up here as we have November 16th, tomorrow for those of you watching and listening live, Tuesday, November 16th, 7 p.m., Indiana University of Pennsylvania on the road. and then we got you back at home. We got you home for the first time on Ted Grant Court in way too many days. And so we have you at home Saturday, November 20th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time against the University of New Haven. I know that you got a game coming up on Tuesday, and I know that coaches don't like to look ahead, and I'm not asking you to scout ahead, but just what it means to you to be back in front of the fans, back on Ted Grant Court, not practicing, but actually playing a game for the first time in what feels like forever, coming up this Saturday, November 20th.
I mean, it's great. I feel like it's been it's been forever since we've even had the opportunity to even talk about it, So that last time that we played New Haven was here, and that was actually our last game of 2020. So and we lost to them in the conference tournament by 2 or 3, and it was just a game that left a bitter taste in our mouth. So for me, and I know for Nino as well, definitely looking forward to getting back onto Ted Grant Court, and it'll be good to kind of open up back here at home with the same team that we closed before the COVID pandemic hit. So I'm really looking forward to getting back and just seeing our fans back in the stands and kind of feeling that buzz around campus that a game's coming up on Saturday. So really looking forward to that. You
made a mention of this, and in my final question here to you, we just had him on for the Dolphin Dive. Nino Hernandez got to tell his story in our spotlight that we do every second and fourth Wednesday of each month with our multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne Dolphins. We get to center on a student athlete, coach, and or staff member in Dolphin Dive, and Nino was the spotlight guest. First and foremost, how do you think Nino did? And two, what can you tell us about Nino's story? Because he spoke very highly of you, and that wherever you were, he was looking to potentially go to that school when he was transferring. So you'd obviously had built a relationship with him before LeMoyne.
I think the big thing, Nino, I thought played really well for us. 14 points, 9 rebounds. One thing that I want to cut down on are the 5 turnovers, but he knows that, and it's always an opportunity to get better. And the best thing is it's, the first game of the year. So it's a great opportunity to learn from it and continue to improve. But Nino's just come such a long ways from, when I first made the phone call. He was transferring from Bryant, and had a connection with him right after that first phone call. So it was somebody that I thought was going to be a really good piece for our program, and it's turned out to be a great addition and somebody that's really growing into a person that has a huge role on the team and someone that people look up to as well. So, just having him here and seeing the growth and maturity that he's showcased over the past 3 years has been awesome, and it's something that I think we're going to continue to see moving forward, even throughout this year, as well as he's kind of having to be in the leadership role and a role that he hasn't been in for a while, and so getting him to understand it and thrive in it is something that we've been working with him on, but he's doing a great job and has continued to learn and grow, and I think that's something that Nino possesses, and such a great quality for him to have is he's willing to learn and willing to grow as a person and I'm really happy with what Nino's doing for us and excited for what he's going to be doing here in the near future.
That coming from Nate Champion, LeMoyne Dolphins men's basketball head coach. Nate, I know you got a game tomorrow, so I know you're getting prepped and ready for that, but thanks for spending some time with us this morning on Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan, for having me.
All right, take care and have a good day.
All right, you too.
Thank you. That coming from Nate Champion once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Very, very happy to have him here with us, and thankful to have him be a part of the broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. As always, been able to feature so much with the LeMoyne College Dolphins, and means the world to me that we get to feature Nate Champion, and of course Mary Grimes coming up here on the basketball side of things for men's and women's basketball respectively. So a lot of great stuff coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, including my one-on-one Q&As coming off of their win over Drexel. I was inside of the Dome this weekend for 3 days in a row. I was there for the CBA Indian River game. I was also there for the CNS Beeville game. And last night, I was inside of the Dome on the court for Syracuse taking on Drexel. The Drexel Dragons coming into town to face off against the Syracuse Orange, and I had the opportunity after the game to speak with head coach Jim Boeheim, as well as centers Frank Anselem and Jesse Edwards, and forward Cole Swider. Those Q&As all come up after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So make sure you're with us. After you hear from our fantastic partners, you'll hear from the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team. Jim Boeheim and the crew coming up right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. We are here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and we are so excited to be here with you hanging out where sports meets that thing called life. So thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you for doing that, for being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as youtube.com/livenowdt, and on facebook.com/ what did I say? youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt. So very excited to be here with you where sports meets that thing called life. So thank you so much for tuning in to the broadcast Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It's the 9:30 time, which means that we are going to jump into those interviews that I promised you with the Syracuse Orange. I had the opportunity to speak with Syracuse Orange head coach Jim Boeheim, as well as speak with Jesse Edwards and Frank Anselem, centers on the team for the Syracuse Orange, and forward Cole Swider. We're going to get into my Q&A with Jim Boeheim first here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming off that win over the Drexel Dragons. So we'll go there first with JB here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. I'm very happy to be able to do this with you and share some time with you, as I had the opportunity to speak with Jim Boeheim and Jim after the game, asking him about his thoughts on Cole Swider, which opened up a huge response from Jim, which I appreciate so very much, as we had the opportunity to hear his thoughts on a lot of different things in his answer to my question. So let's hop into that right now, as you are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cubal studios, hearing our one-on-one Q&As with the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team, including my question and answer from Jim Boeheim after the game against the Drexel Dragons. Jim, can you speak to Cole Swider, how he's coming along in your opinion right now?
They're going to play him the same way Buddy gets played. He's not going to get any open looks. He's going to have to put it on the floor and find his shot places. There will be some situations where he'll get some open looks, but Joe and Buddy and Cole are not going to get looks. That's why Jimmy can put the ball on the floor and get into that area, and Benny can do that too. He's got to figure it out. He started out the game with a couple jump shots, and he can get into the lane on these guys and get easy baskets. So, he's got to work on it. He's got to figure that out. But they're not going to let Cole get those open looks out there. And he's adjusting. He's putting the ball on the floor. I think his defense has been really good. He had 5 steals tonight. I think he's getting out. But he's played 8 minutes a game his freshman year, 10 minutes a game this 17 minutes a game last year. So now he's going to get into a place where he's going to play 30 minutes, and it's an adjustment. It's completely different than what he did for 3 years. It's not the normal sometimes transfer guy who's a good player, makes chores and everything. Now he's going someplace else. He did nothing for 3 years, and now he's got to be able to figure out how he can score, when he can score, and he will. He's a really good shooter. He's, I think, 2 for 10 or something from the 3. He's not getting really good looks. He did get one wide open look tonight and missed, but it'll take some time. But he's working really hard, and he'll figure this out. I knew coming in Jimmy would be able to get opportunities here the way they're guarding people, and he figures out how to get in there and get his opportunities. But we've got to move better. Bakes and Benny and Jimmy have got to, when Buddy goes to make his play, or Joe or Samir, they've got to get positioned down there better. We got 5 offensive rebounds. That's not good. We need to get more offensive rebounds. What this team did is what a lot of teams do. They're making us put it on the floor, making that guy shoot, and the other guys are just blocking out. So when that happens, we've got to do a better job of working to get position on the offensive boards. The last one that Jimmy got was an example for our big guys. Somebody made a move, and Jimmy kept working, and they missed, and Jimmy got the rebound. That's where our big guys got to be going. They got to get those rebounds offensively. But I think they had a good game. I think defensively we figured something out that helps us. But every game's different. The next game it'll be a different attack, and you have to make those adjustments. We just didn't adjust enough early to get to the shooters. It's not like we changed everything. We tried to get them to do it right away, but we just didn't do it. In the second half we did.
That coming once again from Jim Boeheim, giving an answer to my question about his thoughts on Cole Swider up to this point, when Cole Swider playing 2 games after transferring from Villanova and giving his thoughts on plenty other things here. So I appreciate Jim being so candid and giving his take on not just Cole Swider, but on a bunch of different things. And next up here, as we head to the players, I had the opportunity to speak with Frank Anselem of the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team. And Frank Anselem, a center on the team, got to give me his take on the game and his take on the team as we step forward here. So with that being said, Frank Anselem is next up on the docket for my conversations here with the Syracuse Orange. And here's my Q&A with Frank.
Just how you feel you're coming along inside, kind of assessing yourself.
I mean, I think it starts with a team. Like if everyone looks good, then individually you gotta kind of raise your game to the level that they're playing at. So you go in, you gotta keep the energy going, sort of, and that's just what I try to do when I come off the bench, to keep the energy going. And coach is has that trust in me, so I just feel like when I go in, it's just pretty much the same thing. Just play your role, just play hard, and everything's gonna be all right.
You said coach has that trust in you, that faith in you. Why do you feel that he does, and when did that kind of really come through to you that he has that faith?
I think it was over the summer, because over the summer I think I put a lot of work in over the summer, and he's seen my development, and he knows where I can be at. He knows how I can help this team win. So as long as I'm doing that on a daily basis consistently, that's pretty much all he wants. You just gotta go out there and play hard, and that's pretty much it.
Then he misses that jump shot, and you tipped it back in toward the end of the game. Just what you could say about cleaning up around the rim.
I mean, that's really what he wants. That's what he wants the bigs to do. Like he says in practice every time, because Buddy's going to shoot, Joe's going to shoot, Cole's going to shoot, Jimmy's going to shoot, and they're not going to make up every one of them. There's going to be those rebounds, so you always got to have rebounding position. After the game, he was actually saying about it. It's if the shots go up, you got to be ready to rebound. So just having that mindset of always crashing the glass and knowing that's just really what he wants. That's what I'm here for to do.
Lastly, for me, just how you're seeing Jimmy kind of clean up around the rim and what he's done, and really finding his shot. And that one-hander where he kind of leans into the defender was working tonight.
Yeah, Jimmy, he has really. Also, he has great touch around the rim. He's sneaky with the little floaters and layups he has around the rim. He's I think he's coming along really good. He really helped us at the back. Sometimes, towards the end of the game, they had him at center too, so that's a testament to the kind of work he does in practice. So I feel, having Jimmy also rebounding, it's really, really good to have that.
Frank Anselem speaking there on the Jimmy Boeheim floater that we got to see in action yesterday against Drexel inside of the dome, where it really looked like Jimmy was comfortable getting positioning and putting himself in a situation where he would get the ball, get down around the rim, be right in front of the basket or by, the basket there, working in the paint, and that he would put his body on, move his defender in, and then kind of just catch him off guard with that hook shot that he would have that kind of, just to me, it really showed that Jimmy's worked on his game, he's worked on certain things, and he's seen, what makes sense for him inside. So I respect it, and I appreciate the fact, that we're seeing something like that, because seeing a Syracuse forward work their way inside is something that Syracuse has needed, I mean, there's a lot of forwards on Syracuse in recent history want to shoot threes, and that's all well and good, and that's all well and fine, but having an inside presence, that's how you beat teams like North Carolina. That's how you beat teams like Gonzaga. That's how you beat teams like Villanova. That's how you beat typical teams that we saw in the past from Pittsburgh. So, I'm not saying that Syracuse is going to beat all these teams. I'm saying that Syracuse has to put themselves in the best situation to compete with these teams. And I think working the ball inside, obviously, is a huge help to them instead of just relying on the three-point shot. Because like Jim Boeheim said in my Q&A just a couple minutes ago, they're not going to get clean looks. Joe, Girard, Cole Swider, Buddy Boeheim, they're not going to get clean looks at threes. People are going to key in on them. So you got to be able to work the ball inside. And I love the fact that Jimmy did that. He didn't just grab the ball and shoot. We see that with Syracuse a lot. Pass, shoot. Not a lot of passing, shooting immediately with time, time left on the clock and whatnot, a good amount of time left on the clock. seeing Jimmy work and just do that like traditional old school basketball, dribble, 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 look for my shot, okay, don't have it yet, dribble, dribble, work him, and then go, and then not knowing when that ball is going to come up into the air, when he's going to take that hook shot, I think is really helping Syracuse inside to give them something. And if he's dribbling that ball and working his man in, that means guys should be running around getting open. So I think Jimmy's doing some good stuff for himself and for the rest of the team in what he's doing here and is working the ball inside. So I do like seeing it, and I think that there's definitely value in the fact that he's doing that. So it was nice to talk to Frank Anselem about that. Another center on the team, Jesse Edwards, here on the broadcast here to give his take on his thoughts on how he's doing inside and so much more on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Inside of the Cafe Cuball Studios, you're getting my one-on-one Q&As with the team following their 2-0 start and win over the Drexel Dragons at home in the Dome.
Well, just kind of assessing yourself, how you feel like you've been playing around the rim these first couple games.
I think a lot of the work you put in is starting to pay off. You know, I'm finishing most of the chances I get inside. I think I'm going to be a reliable option on that part too. Frankie too did a good job today, and overall I'm pretty happy about that.
We've seen over the years that Syracuse leans a lot on the outside shooting, but on this team with you and Frank Anselem, I mean, the bigs are becoming important. Just what you can say, do you feel like there's more of a game plan for you offensively?
Yeah, like I said before, I feel like because we have such good shooters this year, the defenses have to come out on them, which makes like us an automatic threat for the other team, and that's what we're trying to capitalize on every day. Me and Frankie both getting those opportunities we know we'll get them and finishing.
What are you seeing from Frank? How are you kind of assessing his play at this point?
He's been really developing really well, especially since it's like his first year with real fans because he came last year. He's been really developing really fast. He just goes all out every day, and that's what we need. And I think he'll keep on going if he goes the way he's puts in the effort he's putting in right now.
Lastly for me, just what you can say about leadership coming from you. How have you tried to advance yourself as a leader on this team?
Yeah, I think that also comes with experience, especially on the defensive end. I feel like I really know every place where I'm supposed to be, but not only that, like where everybody else is supposed to be. And I'm taking that role really seriously as trying to lead the whole defense whenever I can, telling guys where to be, what's behind them, because I can see everything. Yeah, especially on the defensive end, I feel like I can do a lot for that.
I love hearing that. Jesse saying, I'm leading the defense. I have to be the one to kind of tell them what I'm seeing, since I could see everything, to let them know like what's coming behind them, to let them know what's going on. I love hearing that leadership because I don't think Syracuse has had that leadership. It hasn't looked like Syracuse has had that leadership, especially defensively from a center. In recent history, that somebody was calling things out and letting you know, hey, you got somebody here on you got somebody coming behind. I think it's fantastic that this is something that Jesse believes that he can do and wants to do. I think it's huge for the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team and can pay off dividends. I think I don't even know if he knows fully what he just said to me, because that's huge. And if he continues to do that and establish leadership there in that sense on this team, I think this team will be far better off. And a lot of credit to Jesse to say, hey, listen, I want to lead them. I want to do this. I want to put them in a situation where I can help them and I can let them know, hey, this is coming, this is coming. So that leadership and him calling those things out, that is a massive, massive addition to Syracuse, and I look forward to seeing what that'll look like. Cole Swider, my final Q&A coming off of Syracuse's victory at home against the Drexel Dragons, which I was in the Dome for this weekend. Had the opportunity to speak with Cole, and make sure you stay all the way through to the end, as always, on all of our conversations. But this one, Cole and I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it after you hear me say it. We'll talk about it. So here's Cole Swider, Syracuse newcomer, transferring in from Villanova, with his take right now.
What's up, man?
How you doing, Dan?
Just what you can say about having the role that you have now. I was just talking to Coach Boeheim about, your last 3 years at Villanova where you were playing a few minutes, and now he said, he'll be playing 30 minutes, so you're making a jump. So just what you can say about how maybe you feel you've tried to get comfortable in that advanced role.
Yeah, I've always wanted this. I've been ready for this. I worked for this. So it's honestly everything I've always expected of myself. You know what I mean? I think it's just getting comfortable with the offense, getting comfortable playing with Buddy and Joe and all these guys. So I think it's just obviously just growing as a team and getting better. And I've always expected this out of myself.
Going down at halftime, 33-32, coming out in the second half, you made the first shot on the first possession. You guys made 7 straight field goals. Just what you can say about offensively coming out that strong and making an impact like that when you were down by 1 at the half.
Yeah, I think it's just playing with confidence, playing with a little bit of swag. But Buddy played really well. I picked it up a little bit. I think it's just being aggressive, not worried about making mistakes. Just trying to be the best players we can be, and we work really hard every single day. So it was bound to happen. It was bound to come, and obviously it showed in the second half of the team that we can be, and we just got to put 2 halves together.
Coach Boeheim spoke about the fact that nobody's going to give you that shot. So just what you can say about kind of working your own shot and how you've tried to kind of develop yourself a little bit here.
Yeah, it's obviously an adjustment. Obviously at Villanova, I was kind of a stand in the corner, catch and shoot guy. But here they give me a lot of rope and a lot of opportunity to make plays and do all these things. So I think it's just getting comfortable, getting back to that. I did that a lot in high school. I played for a coach that really gave me the freedom to play how I do now. So I think it's just game to game. It's going to be different. The scouting report's going to be different today. They were really physical. They were tough on me and Buddy. Buddy made adjustments and Buddy got it going and we won. So that's all that matters. And another game will be me. Another game will be Joe, and we'll just keep on going from there.
Appreciate it. I'll forgive you for the Patriots jersey.
He was wearing a Patriots jersey, a Cam Newton jersey, I believe, too, number 1. So he was wearing a Patriots jersey. Cole Swider was in our conversation there. So that's why I said I would forgive him for wearing that. And obviously, all in good fun because I'm a Jaguars fan. Jaguars played the Patriots just a few seasons ago trying to get to the Super Bowl, and the Patriots kept him out of it. So having some fun with Cole Swider, as always, but appreciate Cole. And like you said, one day it's going to be me, then it's going to be this guy, then it's going to be that guy. He brought it up. This team has depth. This team has listen, Jimmy Boeheim can hit the 3. Buddy Boeheim obviously can hit the 3. Joe Girard obviously can hit the 3. Cole Swider can hit the 3. So we see all of that. Then we see Benny Williams around the rim. We got Syracuse having 2 big guys that could be their best big men at center in a long time in Frank Anselem and Jesse Edwards. You have all of that going on. You got Symir Torrance trying to work his way in as a point guard on the team. There's a lot of good here at Syracuse. And people have been asking me, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you see? My response, I think this could be a special year. My response, I think the team's going to be okay. I think they're going to make the tournament. That's my response. They're going to be okay. They're going to make the tournament. I think it could be a special year. That's what I see. That's what I see. That's what I'm sticking to. That's my assessment. So, fans, get excited. Let's have some fun. And listen, you're all entitled to your own opinions. You're all entitled to say the things that you want to say and feel the way that you want to feel. Just remember, these are human beings. Just remember, they're the ones on the court. You're the ones that are watching. So have some respect and understand they don't want to miss their shots. They don't want to lose games. I don't think anybody goes out there and says, I know I didn't playing basketball my whole life. I never went out there and said, you know what? I want to miss this shot. You know what? I don't want to win this game. You know what? I want to go home and feel like I didn't give my all. You know what I mean? So let's just remember that. Let's remember the fact that it's not an easy game to play. None of these games are easy games to play. And it takes a lot of heart, a lot of grit, and of course, a lot of mental toughness. So please remember that things may not go the way you want them to go, and teams may not always win. But please learn to respect, please learn to be kind, and please learn to understand that it's not always going to go the way of your team, and that doesn't mean that you don't treat them with respect, and it doesn't mean that you don't treat them with kindness and care. I know to some people I'm speaking a foreign language, but hopefully to most, I'm not. Hopefully to most of you, you understand that when it comes down to it, this is a game. They're trying. And things are working out right now. Syracuse is 2-0 early on, but it may not always be that way. There's going to be adversity somewhere, and it's how you respond to adversity. Because adversity is going to happen. It's not that adversity is never going to happen. Adversity happens. It's how you respond to adversity that dictates where you go from there. So please, be courteous and kind. We'll take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, we'll be getting you ready for our video opportunity. Actually, we're going to stay with you for a few minutes here because we got just a few minutes, about 5 minutes until Tom Baleno is supposed to be joining us here. So we'll take another second here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm going to make a quick note about this. We are going to talk about it tomorrow with Rob Drummond. Now, very, very excited. Tomorrow, for the first time ever, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will be broadcasting live from PB&J's Lunchbox during the breakfast hour, the few hours there in the morning there at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be on site, on location at PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Minutes from the highway, the thruway, Destiny, USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway. I am ecstatic that we are going to be there for you. When I say we, Rob Drummond, Syracuse, NFL, and CFL alum, is going to be joining me at PB&J's Lunchbox, and we're going to be unveiling the fact that PB&J's Lunchbox is now proudly serving Cafe Kubal coffee all day long, all throughout Monday through Saturday that they're open every single week. So we get to celebrate Cafe Kubal, PB&J's Lunchbox, Rob Drummond, the community, you, all this great stuff being celebrated at the same time in the same place at PB&J's Lunchbox. So come out and see us this Tuesday, November 16th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, on-site, on location, at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Especially if you've never been there before, come out to PB&J's Lunchbox, warm up with some soup, get their awesome breakfast sandwiches, and of course get that Cafe Kubal coffee that you love so very much at PB&J's Lunchbox. I cannot wait. I'm ecstatic to do it. And so Rob Drummond and I are going to be there on site, on location, tomorrow morning from PB&J's Lunchbox, celebrating that they're now serving Cafe Kubal with their fantastic menu. They will now have fantastic coffee, with Cafe Kubal coffee being on site at PB&J's Lunchbox. We'll be there with you to enjoy a great morning as Rob Drummond and I get to have some fun where sports meets that thing called life, as we always do. So come out and see us out there this Tuesday, November 16th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time during our normal broadcast hours of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. With that being said, we'll take a quick step aside for a fast break. When I come back, you will be joined by Tom Baleno, going to be joining the show here, Union-Endicott Tigers head football coach. We spoke going into the season with him, Nick Faber, and Rocco Spinelli, and we're now speaking to him after they've won a Section 4 Class A championship and ahead of their matchup with the CBA brothers, the Section 3 Class A champions, which is this Friday, November 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in Vestal, New York. Coming up next, a video special that you're not going to want to miss. Nobody's got coverage like this. Union-Endicott head football coach Tom Baleno joins Wake Up Call right after this fast break inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and being shared on facebook.com/live-now-dt. We're inside of the Cafe Cubal studios, and joining me picture-in-picture here is Tom Baleno. Tom Baleno, the head coach of Union-Endicott's Tigers football team. The UE Tigers have won their sectional championship, and we spoke at the beginning of the season, and now here we are at the end of the sectional season as the team continues to move on, and incredible to be able to sit down next to this, I'm going to call him this young man, so to sit down next to this young man here at Progressive Dental just a couple months ago and down in the southern tier, to be able to do that in Endwell, New York, and now to be here talking about a champion. Tom, how are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, and I appreciate you calling me a young man. I just turned 49 October 22nd, so that's pretty good. And matter of fact, that date was the first time that we encountered Horseheads, was on my birthday, and our first meeting did not go the way we wanted it to, and we ended up losing that game in the regular season, and then we ended up seeing them in the championship game. So that outcome was a little bit different.
Yeah, and first and foremost, happy belated. I'm October 21st, and you're October 2nd. So,
well, good things happen around that time of year, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. So, you, like you said, I want to go right back to that. The first time you met Horseheads didn't go the way you wanted it to go. What did you learn from that game? What were your kind of takeaways on film that you could utilize to your advantage in the championship game?
Well, first off, Horseheads is a very good team. They're big, they're fast, they're strong, they're well coached. I don't think that's we didn't underestimate them. We knew they were going to be tough, but we just didn't really play up to our standards. So we had to go right back to the basics. So we didn't really change anything X's and O's wise. It was just more of we need to become better tacklers. We need to become better blockers. So we went right back to the basics and started from there and just built from there. So it's really when we play our games, our approach is always it's never about them. It's always about us. So and let's control the things that we can control. So we just need to get better. And it doesn't matter if we play a team in Section 4 or Section 3 or Section 9. It's never about them. It's just about us being the best versions of ourselves.
You said it's never about them. It's always about us. How do you focus on controlling the controllables in a world where, a lot of times people get frustrated because they want to control the other team. They want to control this person or that thing or whatever that may be. How do you get your team, especially young men, to say, hey, you know what, guys? Yeah, maybe they do this well. Maybe they do that great. Maybe they do that pretty good. But we can only control ourselves. How do you get them to focus on controlling the controllables?
Well, that's a hard characteristic for anyone to have a teenage boy or a young man or young woman, right? To kind of like live within themselves and just kind of, not just be reactive, but you also need to be proactive as well. But that's something that you need to really kind of practice at, right? You're not going to get good at anything in life unless you practice at this. So we always talk about staying focused, playing for each other, looking at how we can improve. It's easy to sit back and live your life and, blame it on the referees or blame it on the wrong hand that you were dealt, right? It's not fair. Life is not fair in multiple aspects of the world, right? So football, I love football because it's such a life lesson. So, this is a great life lesson of we might have bad referees or those guys might be better than us, right? But, let's give our best effort, right? Best effort for ourselves, for one another, and really just go from there. And, it's the old cliche, sometimes you have to make you get served lemons, you make lemonade, and that's really what it is. Sometimes it's not going to be perfect, and then that's okay because none of us are perfect.
Yeah. In seeing this team this season, when we sat down at the beginning of the year, what did you see in them? Have they pleasantly surprised you this season from when we sat down at Progressive Dental? Or did you see that this team could get to this point? I mean, where were you at the beginning of the year? Is this a surprising, wow, these guys really rose to the occasion? Or is this something you could kind of see building?
Well, expectations are always high, so we set the standard of just not winning football games, but like I said, getting better every day. And looking at this team before we started, I saw that there could be a lot of potential for this team. Not because they're athletic, they're very athletic, and that always helps, of course. But I did really like the character of this team. Like I said, they really play for one another. They really love each other. They love spending time together. They work hard for one another. So that kind of like chemistry, when you throw some athleticism in there with that, you can get things that could be very special. So it usually has to start off with there. You have to have that team trust. I think like any type of relationship, you need to have that trust. So, we trust them to do the right things, and they have been doing that, and they trust us to lead them, us coaches, and with that trust, now they trust each other, and great things can happen like that. So, going into the season, looking at just a football point of view, I think that was really kind of the foundation. And then, their athleticism was good. We're not a very big team. We're actually a small team. I'm very proud of our offensive line and how well they've been playing because they're about as big as me, and and I'm not very big. So they're like 100. They probably average like 175, 180 pounds. So we're always outsized, but they work hard. They engage on their blocks. They keep on moving their feet, and then our skill guys just make plays behind them.
Yeah, and for you, like you said, you don't have to be the biggest team and this and that, but it's something that goes beyond how big you are. It's something that goes beyond. I mean, height is something that God gives, and you can't teach height. You can't give anybody height, but the things that they can control, going in the weight room, looking at film, making sure that they got their body right, clearing their mind, mental toughness, those types of things that they can control themselves. How has this team impressed you on those controllables, to go a little bit deeper into what we're talking about?
Oh, they do. They put in extra work. I could give you one example. Last week, we won our semifinal game for Section 4, and one of our players, he ended up having 2 touchdowns, so I take that back. He had 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, and seems like a pretty good game to me, right? But he dropped the ball and missed a couple blocks, and the lights went off in the stadium. We all went home, and one of my other coaches called me up and said, I drove by the stadium and I saw a car in the parking lot, and our player was still out there on the field practicing his routes. So that's just a quick snapshot of the character of this team. They work when no one's looking. So, and it's impressive that young men can do that, and they're that mature, and they're trying to master their craft. And isn't that what we're all trying to do at some point? Find what you're good at and try to master your craft.
Yeah, and for you, Tom, like you said, find what you're good at and master your craft. How did you know that this was going to be a place where you felt like you could really live? Be a football coach and really grow and be successful here. How did you fall in love with it, and how do you master your craft?
I guess it goes to just following your passions. I've always loved football ever since I can remember. So I loved playing. I loved going outside in the backyard and getting dirty and tackling on the grass, and I just kind of liked just the nature of the sport. So I was always a high energy kid. My dad played football for UE, so of course I'm gonna go play football for UE too. Now to find myself back here, coaching and teaching at UE, like I've told you in interviews before, that was just a blessing from God that everything fell in alignment. So that's not me, that's him. That's something that I was fortunate to be placed at. So I'm pretty blessed on being at UE, and I just love it. And how I master my craft is I just try my best. I surround myself by people that are good, that we can work well together. And I just keep on plugging away, and I make mistakes and I learn from them. And I think also being an art teacher kind of helps in the sense that artists, we always reflect, right? When you do a piece of artwork, you always sit back and reflect on it. And you don't take it personal when people look at your artwork and criticize it or say, well, this doesn't look good, or that's kind of ugly or whatever. You sit back, and because it's not you, it's something that you created, and then you go back and you kind of tweak it. And I think being able to reflect on your life and reflect on what you're doing kind of comes easy for me because I do that all the time with my own artwork. So I think that kind of helps me grow as a better person, as a better coach, as a better father, husband, son, brother.
I think it's amazing, and it's so well put, and I appreciate that. Speaking on faith and speaking on reflection, as when we look at artwork with Tom Baleno here, the head coach of the Union-Endicott Tigers football team that has just won their Section 4 championship and is moving on here in the state of New York. And we'll talk about that in a moment, what you're moving on to. But Tom, you talked about art, and when you create something, you said a bunch of incredible things there. One of the things you said was that when you create something and somebody critiques it, that you detach it from yourself, that you don't take it personally. They're critiquing the artwork. They're not critiquing you. They're critiquing the art. When you're taking a paintbrush to the team this season for 2021, when you had to tweak it, what were some of those things that you had to tweak when you were painting this year when it comes to this team?
Well, I probably, like I said, talking about self-reflection, looking back, I think the hardest thing that I find as a coach is putting players in the positions where they could be the most successful, right? So you have guys that are bring different elements to the team, right? And they have different talents, and some of them overlap. And how is this going to fit the team the best? Is he going to be our slot receiver? Is he going to be our running back? Is he going to do a little bit of both? Trying to get them in the right spots where they could take their talents and have them fit in the team. And sometimes they don't want to play in that position. So now you have to talk to them. You have to build that trust and that communication for them to decide to play in a position that they didn't really want to play in, right? So once you kind of figure that out and you move all those puzzle pieces around and you figure out where they're going to be the most successful and where the team needs them the most, then hopefully they're going to buy into that as well. So we have some guys playing out of position, and that's what you get in high school football because you're not recruiting. they're high school kids, right? So, and sometimes they get it, and most of the time the kids get it, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes their parents don't either, and they get upset because, well, my kid's playing, he's playing on the offensive line, and he's not going to be an offensive lineman in college. And I was like, well, I understand that, but colleges are looking just for players, right? Players that have that character, that's give 100% when the plays run away from them, right? So that's what they look for. They look for the players and the athletes. So we just want to get them on the field that's where they're going to be successful, but where they also help the team. And that's kind of the biggest tweaks that we have to make. The X's and O's, we move them around a little bit, right? But we have I put together a system where it's very flexible. So then I did that by designing the offense and the defense and the special teams. It's very flexible because you don't know what you're going to get from year to year. So and that's really fun, because you're building yourself like your own kind of system or your own language, and that's pretty neat. And then you kind of communicate that and you share that with your coaches, and it's neat to hear them talk using the vocabulary and the language that you put together, and that's really enjoyable. And I did not expect that to be as much fun as it is.
They talk about coaches trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. There's coaches that build to their talent, and there's coaches that try and force a system whether or not the talent works. Your flexible system, how do you describe that, and how does it work, that when you have different talent coming in, how are you able to adjust it?
Yeah, I mean, I actually start off with a systems playbook when it's almost I guess we call it, it's like our Bible. This is what we use. This is the terminology we use. This is the techniques we use in each position. These are our alignments, and I kind of just build it where, we start off, we'll talk defensively because I'm more of a defensive guy. So our base defense is like a 4-3 defense, right? But, we can adjust that just by adding different types of tags onto our calls to drop them into a 5-2 or a 5-3. We can go to 6-1, a 6-2. So we can do really anything we want. And as soon as we find out what this team is really built for, then we kind of focusing on that. And then we kind of run that basically set defense. And then sometimes we have to adjust it depending on the type of offense we're going against. But that's really easy because everyone's already introduced to that vocabulary. So, and we've been throughout the summer, we've been going in and out of different types of defenses and coverages and blitz packages throughout the year. And then we just focus on one or two that we like. And then sometimes we have to revisit when we go against a team that's giving us something a little bit different. So that's what I mean by the flexibility. So it's really, it can morph into anything we really need at that point.
You talk about the talent on the team. Two guys I got to talk with you going into the season when we were at Progressive Dental in Endwell, New York, is that I had the pleasure, and Sonny Spear had the pleasure of sitting down with Nick Faber and Rocco Spinelli. What can you say about Nick and Rocco and what they've been this year?
Oh, there are two captains on the team, and they've been fantastic. So they've been really taking on a leadership role, the right way. So they lead by example, and they're vocal when they need to. Rocco Spinelli's just, he's a two-way starter for us and on the special teams, and he's just one of those hard-nosed kids. And you want to just say he's like a throwback kind of guy. He's gritty, he's tough, but he's really focused and sincere and passionate, and he plays. He earns all the team's respect because he plays so hard and he plays for them. And then Nick Faber, he's the same. He's been battling an ankle injury for the past couple of weeks, and he's kind of going full tilt right now. And he's our defensive guy, and really things center around him defensively, and he gets guys in the right spot, and they're doing a great job, as leaders. We have other guys on the team that are leading as well. So I usually do a coin toss captain every week.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're going to be seniors. Sometimes they might be juniors. Those are guys that have been doing those little things during practice, and how they are being good teammates, so they get up in the captain's line with them. And we also put we look through film of the past game, and we have a hitman of the week. So like the biggest or best hit or the best block or multiple great tackles in the game, somebody can earn the hitman of the week. So they can end up being on and the captain's role. And I like that. As soon as you're always going to have 2 or 3 or 4 good leaders on your team. And once you start getting 7, 10, 14 guys that are really taking on that leadership role, then you're really starting to grow something really special. You're getting those guys that are just average or above average, really taking ownership. And then you could really make a difference.
Yeah, and your team has made such a difference this year to see what they've done and what they've become. That second game against Horseheads here for the Section 4 championship, 34-0. And we speak on Rocco Spinelli. He had a sack that forced a fumble that you were able to recover. How did everything just click? We talk about offense, defense, special teams. You need them all to work together. What happened in that game to be able to not only win that game, but to put up a goose egg for your opponent, 34-0? What did you see that was done so well? And then as a coach, I know you got to go back and look at film and find this. What are some areas that you still think could have been better in that game?
Well, I'm surprised that the score was what the score was. I mean, we went into halftime 7-0, and we were good with, all right, 7-0, and we'll just let's keep them out of the end zone and win this game, right? And then we said, stay focused, right? We have 2 more quarters. Let's take one play at a time. Like I said, those old cliches always hold true, right? Just one play at a time. Give me 6 seconds, right? And then give me another 6. Play's going to be about 6 seconds long, right? Give me 6 seconds, right? And then let's do it again. Yeah. And we did that. We kind of we kept our focus. We kept the enthusiasm, and things just started, piling upon itself. I like to say, good things happen to good people, and we were playing really good. And we were playing for each other, and everything was falling into place. So we're very fortunate on that day. I mean, if we played them twice and we went 1-1. So if we played them 10 times, I don't know, it could be 5-5. I have no idea. You know what I mean? But for that night, this past Friday, it was Tiger football, and we were really flying around, and it was great to see. It was almost like, going back to talking about art, it almost looked like a masterpiece. It was really nice. And I was very proud of the guys and the coaching staff.
What are the things that you would want to work on from that game? What did you see from that game that maybe you could do better?
Well, it's there's always room for improvement, right? You always have to grow and get better. I think some of it is just some little execution here and there. Missing some blocks, using a little bit better technique when we when we're attacking them on defense, or when we're playing offense, using blocking a little bit better, maybe being able to look down the field a little bit more to throw the ball, maybe take advantage of some opportunities. But I think defensively we're very opportunistic, and I don't really think we were misaligned that much. Sometimes we have problems defensively and we're misaligned, but I think that was one thing that we took care of. So hopefully we're going to continue that. But you're talking about high school kids; they can be flaky once in a while. So that's why we always want to get better. Just fix one thing. So we fix one thing at a time, and then at the end of the season, you have 100 mistakes you fixed, and that's where you want to be when you're starting playing these championship games.
Tom Baleno here with us. Before I let you go, Tom, Union-Endicott Tigers football head coach here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cubal Studios. For this upcoming game, keep, like you said, sometimes kids can be flaky, whatever, they're young kids. How do you keep them focused? They've already won a Section 4 championship, but there's more life to be had here as we continue in states. You're playing Section 3, a team that I know very well, the CBA brothers and Casey Brown, and that game's going to be this coming Friday, November 19th at 8 p.m. in Vestal, New York. So they're coming to your neck of the woods. What can you tell me about keeping the team focused? And then let's jump into the game and having a Section 3 champion that just won 61-26 against Indian River. And here's some irony. When you played Horseheads first, you lost. Then you came back and you had a substantial victory. When they played Indian River during the season, they lost. And then when they came back, they had a substantial victory. So 2 teams coming off of championship wins over teams that they lost to earlier on in the season. What are your thoughts on what's coming up this Friday in Vestal, and how do you keep the team focused?
Well, keeping them focused, we're just happy that we have the opportunity to continue practicing. So I let them know that I was like, not every team's practicing. In Section 4, there's only 5 teams that are practicing right now. So don't make and we just go day by day. Hey, this could be your last practice, last Monday practice, make it great. Work on that one thing. This could be your last Tuesday practice. Make it great. And etc. So, we see the sense of urgency, but we also see the opportunity to do something that's not too many UE teams have done. I think if we win this game, they'll be the sixth UE team actually to win a regional title. So I think they won it in 89 and 90. So I happened to play on those two teams, and then 95, and then 2012 I coached, and then 2013 I was the head coach. So it only was going down 5 times. So, and I let them know that. You're going to put a mark. You're going to leave your mark in UE football. So take that serious. Don't, play within yourself, right? Play within yourself. Don't let the experience get bigger than you, right? But know that you have a great opportunity in front of you. And like I said, these guys, the big key is these guys, they love to play football for each other. So I think they're gonna play for one another, and they'll stay dialed in.
2013, you became the head coach. It was 8 years ago. What have these 8 years looked like for you?
They're always up and down. So we've so some seasons we have winning records, and we win Section 4 championships like this year, and a few years I had in there where we had losing records, and we still played well in the big game and won Section 4 championships. So we've been in the stage multiple times in my tenure. So we know what to expect, right? We know what to expect. But then there's always the unknowns, right? You don't know what you don't know. So we're going to find out. I know that CBA is pretty explosive. So we're going to, it's going to be their skill guys versus our skill guys. And we're going to see how that's going to turn out.
Chandler Jones, Arthur Jones, Union-Endicott, they have gone on to be extremely successful Super Bowl champions. What does that mean to you? And do you ever bring that back? Do you ever sit with your team in the locker room and say, hey, listen, you can reach greatness. And if you feel like you can't reach it in your life or in this community or on this team, like if you think, because I think sometimes kids will look out, and people of all ages will look out and say, wow, that person's successful. And they'll see them after they've gotten to that point, after they've gotten to the top of the mountain, but they don't see them climb. Do you ever look at the kids and say, hey, listen, there's 2 guys that climbed this mountain and are pretty high up right now, and they came from Union-Endicott?
Yeah, I do once in a while. I try not to always get back to, back in the day or this or that, because, kids are focused on their now, right? And I get that, and I appreciate that too. But sometimes you need to drop from the past. And I do bring that up on occasion. Probably the one time I do it the most is when I'm working with the DNs, and we're talking about some type of technique where they're kind of ripping across the face of a tackle or offensive, a tight end or something like that. And I was like, well, make sure you're staying square to the line. You don't want to get washed down. And we talk about that. And I was like, listen, Chandler Jones had a hard time with this, and he's great. He's really good, and he used to get washed down. If you do it this way, you're going to lose the battle every time. So let them know it's like even the great ones have to use good technique, right? And it just doesn't come. It just doesn't happen. They need to use good technique. So I'll draw to that on occasion when they need to. And that's how I kind of use it, when it calls for it.
You spoke about controlling the controllables. To bring it all back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios with Union-Endicott Tigers head football coach, Mr. Tom Baleno. Tom, how do you, like you said, CBA's talented. They could be explosive. They got, it's our skill guys versus their skill guys. How do you control the controllables and say, okay, this is what we're preparing for on film. We can't control them. We can adjust, we can respond, we can attack, but how do you stay focused knowing that you have, obviously a very talented team coming into Vestal?
Well, that's the one thing that, that's why we break down film, right? And that's why we have to do our studies, is we have to put together a game plan where we're looking at, matchups where these guys might be even, right? So their skill levels might be are comparable, and they're going to be even. So how can we put our guy in a better situation so he can get a little bit of advantage, so he can be able to make a play. So now you're getting down to some of the idiosyncrasies of what they do, kind of where their weakness is, how can we exploit that, and then how can we get some of our skill guys, put them in situations where they're going to have a little bit of advantage, because they're going to need it, because the guys that they're going against are very talented. So we're at that point of the weekend right now, working on that.
Your visor game is here with us today, and I'm going to say this in closing. Are you typically a visor guy? I mean, I say when I see that, I'm thinking Lane Kiffin. I'm thinking a lot of Scott Schaefer because I know that he wore it so much. But are you typically visor? Are you just visor today for this conversation? What's the breakdown between regular hat and visor?
I'm a visor guy, so I'll throw a hat on once in a while. I guess if I have a bad hair day, I'll throw on the hat. But most of the time, I'm a visor guy until I start losing my hair, and then maybe I might go do a hat. But right now, I like to show off my curls, so I go with the visor. So I have my practice day visors. So I have a white visor, a black visor, and an orange visor for practice, and then I have my game day visor, which is black on black.
I love it. So that coming from Tom Baleno here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Tom, I'm going to give you the floor. Any final note, anything you want to say to the community, to Union-Endicott's, hopeful and to their support, anything you want to say here in closing?
Well, we always talk about playing for each other, but we also represent the community and we play for the community as well. So UE, the school district, the community, they really love their football and they love their athletics. They really support us. We have a Sea of Orange that comes to the game. That's our student body. They're fantastic. They have their Twitter handles out there and they do all their stuff. So we just love the enthusiasm that they have, and we're glad that we're giving them an opportunity to be excited about something that's special, and we're all in it together.
Coming from Tom Baleno, Union-Endicott Tigers head football coach. Tom, it's so awesome that I got to meet you and sit down with you. Like I said just a couple months ago at Progressive Dental, sitting right next to me, and Sonny and I are just talking about your hopes for the season, your thoughts, your history, your coaching technique, and here we are. Isn't it funny how a couple months can really put together something beautiful? So I got to tell you, I mean, it's incredible, and I'm so proud of all that you guys have done, and I look forward to what you can do from here. But let me say that it was an honor to meet you then, and it's kind of gives you chills right now to see where you guys are at. So congratulations, and hopefully things keep going well.
I appreciate that. Seems like I've only known you for a few months now, but I mean, we could probably be like old school, like neighborhood friends or something like that. So, I mean, it's nice. Maybe it might be the Italian background or something, but you fit really good in Endicott.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate that so very much. So God bless to you. Thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. And I will definitely be in touch, Tom. Thank you for your time today, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt. We are live Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, including this morning inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. The person that you are seeing here on the picture-in-picture is Mr. Casey Brown, and Under Armour has a big old piece of my heart over the years here, so I love that he's rocking that Under Armour. But Casey Brown here with us, CBA Brothers head football coach, and obviously my alma mater. Very happy to have Casey here on the show, fresh off of winning the 2021 Section 3 Class A championship in the Dome, 61-26 over Indian River in a rematch. Casey, how are we doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing very well. And hey, Casey, I gotta ask you. I mean, I know you got to go with probably whatever's going to be working with, the CBA logos and whatnot. But are you an Under Armour fan?
Sure. Yes, I do. I like the Under Armour fit, and it wears well. This sweatshirt's been around for, I don't know, maybe 10 years old. So the stuff just kind of wears well on me.
We were talking before we went on the air that you have like weird superstitions. Is there anyone that you're taking into this game coming up?
All of them. But I don't talk about them. That's another part of the whole superstition thing. You don't talk about them.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. I have a Buffalo Bills fan that she has to sit in a certain place every game. She has to wear a certain jersey. If they lose, she has to wash that jersey, wear something else. It's Gina Castelli, the former head coach for LeMoyne College for the women's basketball team. So she got some cool stuff going on with that. But Casey Brown here with us, the CBA Brothers. Casey, I was with you over the weekend here at the Dome. Bring me into this game. Your team commanded it from the beginning. In the first quarter, it was 18-0 with still time on the clock. You really just took over this game early and never let go.
We talked about it on Monday with the first day with the kids in terms of what we had talked about over the weekend. We came up with a strategy and a plan. We implemented that throughout the entire week. And it was very different. It was a different set of rules and expectations for these kids defensively. We went through special teams because we figured heavily because we knew that was a third of the game that we wanted to win. And then offensively, we knew we had the pieces, but we just needed to move the ball. We needed to start quickly, not stall out, and make sure that we finished.
Yeah, and looking at what you were able to do so early in this game, what was it that you just felt like was clicking offensively that you were able to command the game as quickly as you did?
Just to see how people are going to line up. When you have some of the guys that we have offensively, who are you going to defend? How are you going to take them away? And then when you do that, who else gets opened up? The offensive line has to control the front line to give the quarterbacks, the running backs the time, the lanes. And, we just got to complete things. We just got to move the ball forward.
You and I talked going into this game this past Friday that you started the season 3-0, then went 0-3 going into the playoffs. You had a 500 record at 3-3. Now you have another 3-0 streak. What do you put to this? I mean, they say to not let a loss beat you twice. So you start 3-0, you lose 3 in a row, and within that, period, 51 points given up, 21-0 against West Tennessee, and then 31-26 in a close one with Fayetteville Manlius. How did this team bounce back? How did you not let a third loss become a fourth to start 3-0, start hot, and then seemingly look to cool off a little bit, and then come right into the playoffs and handle your business? And mind you, playing these playoff games on the road away from CBA.
We saw a positive in the Fayetteville Manlius game, the first Fayetteville Manlius game. And the kids saw a reaction of us that they didn't see in the Indian River and the West Tennessee game. And we saw some positivity out of that game, even though it was a loss. And we always talk about, you either win or you learn. And we did learn. And there was a positivity in terms of this is what we did well. And we were able to show them on film. And it really started to make a real positive momentum and create that positive culture.
For you, speaking here with Casey Brown, CBA Brothers head football coach here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. Against Indian River, a team that defeated you 51-30 when you were on the road at their home earlier on in the season, which started the 3-game losing streak. When you saw Indian River again, just what how were you able to strike? Was it just catching it? Like you said, it was seeing how they lined up, and you have so many talented guys that if they're going to cover one, you could shift to the other. But what was it in this game? Because the game just looked like it just flipped the other way, and the score 26 on their side. I want to tell a lot of people that maybe weren't at the game, a lot of those points came at the end when you were playing your JV players and had taken your starters out. So, I mean, what was it about Indian River that you were just able to capitalize on the second time around after you and I spoke about how important it was for you to play that game during the season, knowing that you could see them again?
One of the things that we showed the kids early on in the week was the offensive defensive breakdown of the number of plays that Indian River had in the first game. And I think it was 98 to I think it was 52. And they were astonished by that. So the first thing we wanted to do is we wanted to keep our offense out on the field. I mean, if our offense was out on the field, their offense is not going to be on the field. And typically Indian River gets on the field, they're going to chew up the clock. They're going to get 3-4 yards. And if it's close on fourth down, coach is going to go for it. Even, third and 2, 3rd and 3, they're going to run that wedge with the fullback, or if not, then they might run a dive with the fullback, or even the superpower toss. So, I mean, they can get 3 yards easily out of 4 downs. So we wanted to make sure that, we stayed on the field, number one. And then number 2 was we wanted them to play behind the sticks. We wanted to make sure they were playing second and third and long, and make them pass the ball and put those situations in. Because they're a very good run team. They're a very good power football team, and we just wanted to take that out of their hands.
They rely so heavily on the run, like you're talking about here. Speaking of Indian River, to your defense's credit, just how they were able to sustain such a positive push against this. I mean, there was never a time where your starters were in the game where Indian River could ever get comfortable running the ball. There was no big runs that were broken out against your starters, and they just tried to inch forward little and little, and you kept pushing them back. Just what you can say about your defensive front that really didn't give up much of anything this entire game when we look at your front line there.
we ask them to be aggressive, and we ask them to make. We always talk about your point of attack. What are you looking at? We don't have our kids just reach out and grab, and they have specific angles and specific points that they need to make contact with their hands. So, and we adjusted that. So they had rules in terms of where they needed to insert, because we had an estimation in terms of where this point of attack was going to be and where the ball was going to end up. So, again, I talked about this earlier with some other individuals, other reporters, that, this was more of an option defense where everybody had assignments, and you had to make sure that you did your job, because if you didn't do your job, because you might not be the guy making the tackle, but you're going to be a guy that's going to take on a gap, and just do your job, and everybody's going to, the defense is going to benefit in the end.
Looking at what your team did to halt the run the way that they did, was this their best game when it came to stopping the run all season long? Did you feel like this was their best stand? I mean, is your defense playing their best football right now from what you can see?
Nope. No, I don't believe they are. I still think these kids have the ceiling hasn't been broken yet. We still have room to go. But that's just our philosophy. We call it stacking days. Okay. And we stacked a day on Friday. We got, so that was a positive day. So on Monday, we need to be better. And that's how you improve. You just have small steps every single day where you try to find a way to improve. So our expectations haven't changed. The kids' expectations haven't changed. Okay, we won the day. Okay, we stacked that day. Now we got to go stack another day. And we got to make sure we have good days going into Friday night against Union-Endicott.
Do you ever have trouble keeping this team focused? I mean, you want to enjoy the win, you want to live in the moment, but when you turn the page, do you ever find that it's difficult to turn the page with this year's team, or are they able to say, hey, you know what? That night in the Dome, fantastic. However, we have Union-Endicott coming up.
We have a 24-hour rule, and that goes for good and bad days. So, enjoy the moment. Have fun with this. Or, if out of those 3-game loss that we had, okay, reflect. But after that, we Charlie Mike this thing. We're, back on complete our mission. And, so there's a 24-hour rule. We had a gathering on Sunday being together, and we're refocused. The kids were, we went and had lunch today. And at one of the tables, every single kid had their phone out watching game film. And, and just laughing and enjoying each other, being with each other. But they had game film on. And they were studying Friday night's game as well as film on Union-Endicott. So I thought, yes, they're kids. You got to make sure you're refocused. But these kids are determined.
I went to Christian Brothers Academy, so I know about the education there. The level of education that's asked of us there is very high. It's well above average, in my opinion. Do you feel that what they get in the classroom helps you as a football coach to, have, because they're asked to study, because they're asked to be focused, because they're asked to be, adults and handle their business well? I know what the educational side is at CBA. Do you feel like that educational piece, the student side of student athlete, has, because they're asked so much in that side of things, that it's maybe easier for you when it comes to, you don't really have to corral them maybe how another coach would have to corral their team, just because of the fact that if they're coming to CBA, they already know that their expectations are high?
Yeah, you come to CBA to be excellent, to be great. So I agree with you on that. But I think the IQ and the understanding what, we can put something in front of a kid. So this past week, we put something very, very different in front of them. And they had to study it. They had to be students of the game with it. We've had other situations in some halftime situation. First game against Whitesboro. We made some really good changes, some adjustments at halftime, and the kids stuck to it. You have to do this in this Class A league. It's brutal. Some awesome coaches. I mean, the coaches in this league are amazing, and are really, really good at making adjustments and making some changes. So, it's great if we have ideas, but the kids have to adapt to it, and they have. And I believe it's a direct relationship to the rigor that they're dealing with every day in the classroom at Christian Brothers Academy.
Casey Brown, CBA Brothers head football coach, here with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. Casey, for you to have that moment in the Dome, to have it basically be a home game with the amount of CBA fans that showed up, what was that moment like for you to celebrate with the community, to hear how loud they were, and to just have that, sea of purple, so to speak?
Honestly, Dan, I didn't even know. You're so locked in. Yeah, you're just completely locked in. And I had no idea. I mean, as we were waiting in the tunnel, I saw the students coming with bags of gold towels. So I had heard that they brought gold towels. But once the game is going on, I'm locked in. The kids are locked in. The staff is locked in. I wasn't turning around. And somebody made a comment about, what a great crowd it was. And I said, really? And they're like, oh, no, it was packed. It was absolutely packed. Hearing that, and hearing some of the alumni and the former players that played for us that were in the stands just makes me so proud and so happy, because this wouldn't have happened without a lot of them. Some of them were in the stands that were there when I first started, and they were champions, under Coach Joe Casmano, and when I was there, and it was great that they were there. And then there's other guys in the stands that were there during some of our rougher times, but they were part of making this current culture and having this turn around a couple of years ago. So, and I told this group 2-3 years ago, I said, you guys are starting something different. You're not gonna see it right now, but I'm telling you right now, down the road when this team wins, it's gonna be because of you. So it's great to see those guys in the stands and hear from them, after the game.
When you told them you guys may not see it, but you're creating something different, it's going to pay dividends down the road, how did you see that? What were you seeing that made you believe that?
Culture. So the first thing you need to be able to adjust and change is the culture. You need to make sure it's a positive culture. And that was the big adjustment and change for everybody, from players to staff, to everybody that's connected to this program. And we wanted to make sure that it was positive. And because we're asking a lot out of these kids and these families, and there's a lot of time and dedication to it. And football's changed. You got to make these positive connections with these kids. And if you do, they'll do anything that you ask of them. And I just think that we're a real solid, fundamental team, and that is, ethically sound, and just love our kids. And I know everybody, the coaches do love their kids, across the country that they play football in. But we just wanted to make it a really positive experience for everybody.
Speaking of positivity, Jordan Ray, we've talked about him, your quarterback. He's been here on the show on Wake Up Call. 7 touchdowns against Indian River in the 2021 Section 3 Class A championship game at the Dome. 7 touchdowns, 0 picks, 3 touchdown passes to Syer Torrance. Jason Brunson got involved. Amari Pitts got involved. And Hanford as well got involved in the receiving game. Just what you can say about Jordan Ray and what he did in this matchup as he heads in to a regional matchup down in Vestal, knowing that not only did he have 7 touchdowns, but no interceptions, tried to stay as mistake-free as possible, and he threw a touchdown pass in every single quarter in that game.
17 out of 20 attempts. I mean, that right there is just phenomenal. It's just, he was precise, and we've been working with him on some things and some concepts, and he's really taking to it. He's taken to the studying, he's taken to the filming, he's taken to his vision in terms of understanding coverages, and the offensive line gave him time to be able to do that. So he's really coming along and taking what's given, and that's the one thing that we're asking of him. We're going to recommend some concepts here and that we're seeing. Make adjustments if you need to, but just take what's given to you and let these guys go. I mean, he's got a stable of guys that are just phenomenal, and just get the ball to him, get him in space, and let him go.
Brunson, you and I talked about it off the air, just how Jordan Ray dropped back as the first play of the drive, and he looks like he's going right. And then here's Brunson just kind of cheating downfield on the left side, and he just fed him and let him go with it. Just what you could say about, some of these plays that you had, like that play from Jordan Ray to Jason Brunson, and just what, you know, he was able to do as you have so many talented players, as you were mentioning, that they're keying in on Syer, they're keying in on Dan Anderson, they're keying in on Amari Pitts, and here comes a guy like Brunson.
So it kind of comes back to a theory when I was when I was coaching with Paul Minch at Fayetteville Manlius, and you know, he's one of my mentors, you know, in my development, and he always wanted to find the conflict guy, and who's got two jobs, who's doing two things. If we can find that individual, we're going to put him in conflict, and he can't win. So during our offensive scheme set, we're looking for that conflict guy who has two jobs, and let's make him, you know, not right. So, you know, that was just one of those things where we saw it off that motion, the corner, you know, he dropped back, we're going to dump it over to our motion guy. So we always try to have a two-way answer with a one-way read for him. And, you know, and if that safety flies over, we have another answer for that as well. So, you know, we try to give the guys answer sheets. You know, if you see this, do this, for most of the offense.
We've seen the success in the passing game. Talk about being multiple. You played up against a team that relied heavily on the run. You've been able to lean on both, including in a game like this with Tez Thomas and Jameer Hanford and what they were able to do. Just how, you know, you really are going into this game against Union-Endicott with so many different pieces that you can utilize, so many different ways to score. And, you know, a guy like Tez breaking it open in this game, and we've talked about Hanford and what he's been able to do. There really is no let up on this offense.
No, there is none, but they're unselfish. That's what's so great about these kids. They cheer for each other. They're unselfish. They don't care if they get the ball. They want each other to be successful, and it's just an unselfish group of guys, and it's awesome.
Union-Endicott coming up, the Tigers being down in Vestal, New York. You'll travel down there this Friday, November 19th, for an 8 p.m. Eastern time start. Going down there to Vestal, what can you tell me about Union-Endicott? They're this Section 4 champions, and they took care of business. Tom Baleno is someone that I've gotten to know over this past year, and he obviously had a lot of success this year. He had a very interesting road to the championship like you did. They played the championship game against a team that had bested them earlier on in the year, and convincingly, and they were able to respond and take care of business. You had that with Indian River, and you were able to do that. So there are some parallels there on teams that have gotten better. What do you know about, you know, as far as what you could tell me about Tom Baleno and Union-Endicott?
Well, from the film study that I got, you know, they're very athletic. They're spread offense. They're going to spread things out defensively. They're very aggressive with their blitzes and their line stunts. So they're going to give us pressure, you know, on the sides and up the middle. But again, the third ingredient, special teams. They won it on special teams last week, and onside kicking and block punts. And so, I mean, that third, everybody forgets about that little special team there in the kicking game. But you know, you got to make sure at this level, everybody's good. Everybody's great. Everybody has won, and you don't get this opportunity without it. So we got to make sure that we're perfect or near perfect with that special teams units. And you know, it's going to be a heck of a battle, I think.
Before I let you go, here with Casey Brown, CBA Brothers head football coach on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. What are some of the things in a 61-26 victory where, like I said, a lot of their points came at the end of the game with them running the ball against the JV team that you had allowed to go in there when you took your starters out? Overall, when you look back at that game against Indian River, where are some of those pieces that you really want to key in on this week? What are you looking at? You had a big-time victory. Your starters did what they had to do. You had a lot of successes. What do you want to work on from what you saw on film? What did you kind of, you know, not nitpick, but, you know, any good coach knows that even in a victory, even a convincing victory, that there's things that you can see that could be a little bit better. What are some of those things?
If I gave you those things, then you need to know about those little things. So we are going to clean things up, but I'm not going to specify exactly. So touche on that. But no, we're gonna clean things up. We're gonna get our guys a long season. So, we're going to get our legs back underneath us. We're going to make sure our recovery is properly done. It's a big aspect of what we're going to do this week. We're going to start getting used to the weather. I mean, the weather's now going to turn. It's going to be 26 degrees on Friday when we play. So, the game's going to change. We were nice and warm inside at the Carrier Dome, and we appreciate their hospitality. But now it's going to get cold. It's going to get really, really cold, and that's just some of the fun. It started when we started the season. It was 98 degrees, and now it's 26. So you're doing something right when you're flipping seasons.
Yeah, and to have this game in Vestal, it's down in the southern tier, so it's familiar territory for Tom Baleno and Union-Endicott. You're used to in this postseason playing on the road, playing away from CBA. So, like you said, it's going to be colder, but your team has already shown that being away from home hasn't shaken them. What does that mean to you, the fact that this team has been able to not have home field advantage? Because it's not like in Vestal it's going to be any different. You'll be playing on the road. So just what you could say about your team's resolve being away from familiar territory.
Another day to be together. They get to get tied up into a bus and going together and having another team meal together. So they just love being together and listen to music together. And it's just, again, all these life memories that they're going to have forever.
I got to give a shout out. You talked about special teams, and I have to give a shout out where shout out is due here when we look back on special teams to Gage, his 58-yard fumble return on that kick, that onside kick attempt that he grabbed by midfield and ran it back. Just what you could say about that play and his wherewithal and what he was able to do once he picked it up. And I love the fact that there was a flag for a potential illegal block in the back. And I'm like, there was no blocker. He was by himself the whole time. So I was like, I know you can't, but I can look at it and go, what are you talking about blocking? He was the front line. So what do you think about Gage's play on special teams?
Oh, it's tremendous. He hit that. It bounced right up into his hands. One of the other players we talked to today is like, hey, took it right out of my hands. And then he just went. He just ran. He won. I'm so proud of him in the adversity that Gage has gone through this season and his senior. And he's such a great young man. And I'm so happy for him to have that opportunity. And it took the most of it.
Sire Torrance has been all over the field for you. 3 touchdowns in this game. He got an offer. His first offer that he got collegiately was from Syracuse. So we got to see him wherever he ends up. We at least got to see him in the dome make some terrific plays. The evolution of Sire, in your opinion, as his coach, how have you seen him evolve?
Confidence. I've seen the confidence evolve. I've seen the leadership evolve. I let Bruce Williams handle the skill level and things like that. But from a day-to-day basis, just talking with him and just seeing the confidence in the classroom, seeing the confidence in the field, and then from there, you just see the leadership. And you hear one of the interviews, and that MVP he said went to the offensive line, it went to his quarterback, it went to the other receivers, it went to the running backs, and he's unselfish. And this young man's a sophomore in high school, and to have that understanding and that vision is unreal, like we've never seen before. So. He's humble. His parents have done an amazing job raising him. He's a great young man, and it's going to be fun to watch him grow up in the next couple of years.
James Bell, we talked about him before. When you play in high school, there's a lot of two-way players. We've seen that he can be involved offensively, but I heard his name multiple times back-to-back on what he was able to do to stop the run. Just what you can say about how he has grown up here and how, not just in the receiving game, but on the defensive side of the ball, he's been able to make some good reads and obviously did some good things against Indian River.
Yeah, he'll do whatever he needs to do. He's just a tough young man, and he prepared himself. And again, we started the season out asking a lot out of him as a receiver, and then there were some opportunities as in the defensive backfield. Okay, what do you need me to do, Coach? I'll do it. And that's great about him. He's just a grinder. He just gets after it and gets it done.
Davion Irby was out there with your team, and I looked over at my girlfriend, and I kind of told her the story a little bit there, and just as he was out there on the field, I know that the last time we talked, were getting emotional over the phone. It's hard for me not to, because just a few months after everything happened to Davion, him and I were talking, and he was, just a kid getting ready to run out onto the field. So to have him there and to have him be a part of this through everything he's gone through and the tragedy that him and his family have faced, to see him there, and like you said, you play for him, just what that meant to you, to have him be a part of this championship team and to have him there with his brothers. Because to me, I mean, I don't know if there's words that can adequately capture the moment that, that it is to have him there with you. I mean, he's just an incredible kid, and I'm so happy that he was on the field with you.
And first of all, I want to thank Section 3 and Paul Seeley for making some special accommodations, to making sure that he was able to get into the dome and with parking, and just those accommodations were amazing. Paul Seeley is one of the best human beings I know, so I publicly want to just thank him. But for him to be a part of this and part of the team, and he knows he's a part of the team. We've said this from day one, and he was so happy. He was so happy for the guys, and the guys were so happy that he was there. And he actually, after the game, he stayed at one of the guys' houses with some of the guys, so he was able to celebrate and be with them afterwards. So I think that was really special. But he's a special kid in our heart. Our heart goes out to him. It's very, very sad and very, very tragic. But it just reminds us how fragile life is, and how fragile, in an instant, anything can be taken away. And I think it's a real call and a real message for these guys to really embrace what you have, and just be blessed with it.
Do you still see his personality shine through?
Yes and no. Davion is a character, and but yes, we have some quiet conversations and things like that. But yes, his personality is still there, and we try to. Sometimes we have to bring it out in him a little bit, but yeah, it's still there.
In closing here with Casey Brown, final point here. CBA Brothers head football coach, who's getting ready this Friday, November 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in Vestal, New York, to take on the Section 4 Class A champions, and that being Union-Endicott, the Tigers. Brothers versus Tigers this Friday night lights, and it's going to be cool. So pack your layers and bring your hand warmers and all the stuff that you need. Casey, I'm going to give you the floor. What do you want to say to the community as you get set for Friday? What should they know about the Brothers, and why should they come to the game?
The Brothers really appreciate everything that the community has done, staying loyal and with us. And I do appreciate that. Loyalty is a huge factor and characteristic that I really appreciate. But, support these guys and come on out on Friday. Come on down to Vestal. It's going to be a nice hour and a half drive. But come and cheer them on. Warm the place up with your cheers and your celebrations, and enjoy what these guys are doing.
And coming from Casey Brown. Casey, as always, I appreciate you. I thank you for your time, and congratulations again on all your successes. You and the guys definitely deserve it, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you very much for having me on. Thanks.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market every Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. right there on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. There you'll have their drive-through pickup window where you can grab your food and go without having to leave the comfort of your car. You can also go inside to their general store and, of course, to their indoor dining restaurant. And every single weekend, that restaurant turns into a bistro restaurant with a special menu every single week. The menu changes weekly for the weekends at Millhouse Market for their bistro. So make sure you go there every single week to find out what they're cooking up in that specialty menu every single weekend. And of course, you could find their menu on their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store by downloading the Millhouse Market app. There you'll have their homemade breads, salads, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, desserts, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market is second to none. That's why if you're a mile down the road or 30 miles away, they are absolutely positively worth the drive every time. And trust me, your appetite will thank you for that. With that being said, back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, we had an all CNY show today, and Central and Upstate New York mean the world to me. So a big old thanks to every single guest that I had on today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Big time shout out to the LeMoyne Dolphins and to Nate Champion as well as their men's basketball team for starting the season 1-0 in a thrilling victory 97-96 on the road at Roberts Wesleyan. And I also would like to thank Jim Boeheim, the head coach of Syracuse Orange men's basketball, as well as centers Frank Anselem and Jesse Edwards and forwards Cole Swider for spending some time with me this week and answering my questions coming off of their win over Drexel. And I'd like to give a special thank you to Tom Baleno for our video conversation that we got to have here with you from Union-Endicott. Union-Endicott head football coach of the Tigers, Tom Baleno. Thank you to Tom for all that he's done, and thank you to Progressive Dental for all that we got to do going into the season that we continue to get to do right in their neck of the woods right there on 565 Hooper Road in Endwell, New York, where we had our special with Union-Endicott's football team. And a big time thanks to CBA and CBA Brothers, Christian Brothers Academy head football coach Casey Brown for his time today. CBA of Section 3, the Section 3 Class A champions, will take on the Section 4 Class A champions, Union-Endicott, this Friday, November 19th at 8 p.m. in Vestal, New York. And I'm going to be there. I hope you're going to be there. So we'll see you out there very soon. Casey Brown, Nate Champion, Tom Baleno, Jim Boeheim, Jesse Edwards, Frank Anselem, Cole Swider, thank you for being a part of today's broadcast. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is live for you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, Facebook, twitterpages.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/live now DT. You can also pick it up on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com. Once the show goes live, they go to the archives. You can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Podbean by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I would like to say thank you to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Progressive Dental, Avocoles, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, LeMoyne Dolphins, Honda City of Liverpool, Millhouse Market, Mother's Cupboard, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and the place where we're going to be live tomorrow, Tuesday, November 16th from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. during our normal broadcasting hours for the morning show here on Wake Up Call. We will be at PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora would like to tell you that we are the proud multimedia marketing partner of the LeMoyne Dolphins. The LeMoyne Dolphins are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for Dolphin Time every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can set it every Wednesday to 9 a.m. First and third Wednesday, AD and DT airs, which is our broadcast special with Athletics Director Bob Beretta monthly, and myself, Dan Tortora, where we focus on a specific topic each episode. The second and fourth Wednesday is Dolphin Dive, where you just had Nino Hernandez last week of the men's basketball team at LeMoyne, telling their stories, student athletes, coaches, and staff members, diving into why they are a Dolphin and to speak on their journey to where they are and where they're heading. The LeMoyne College Dolphins have Dolphin Time on Wake Up Call every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, including other specials that you will find throughout each month, like the one you found today with Nate Champion on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Thank you to the LeMoyne Dolphins. You can find out more by going to the LeMoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com and, of course, to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And on the LeMoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com, the composite schedule for every single game is there, so you won't miss a matchup. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of the Marywood University Pacers. Pacer Pride is our exclusive special broadcast that happens every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where you get to hear the stories from staff members, student athletes, and coaches at Marywood University that fill up their athletic programs. Their phenomenal stories have been told here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, which include the Marywood men's basketball head coach Enrico Mastriani, the women's basketball head coach at Marywood, Jen Carlton, as well as the men's and women's cross country and track and field head coach who's joined our show, Rob Aarons, and Julie Trott, who was just a guest on the show, the Marywood field hockey head coach and alum of the field hockey team. We've also featured the Marywood men's basketball players, point guard Corey Perkins and center Jason Holman, and our first ever broadcast of Pacer Pride featuring Executive Director of Athletics Pat Murphy on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So make sure you look out for the Marywood Pacers every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, with specials airing for you in what is called Pacer Pride. And you can find more at MarywoodPacers.com. And of course, you can go to the Marywood tab on WakeUpCallDT.com and get all of our past videos, as well as the composite schedule of all their games coming up. With that being stated, I hope you have a fantastic day. Please be safe. Find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, and of course, always on WakeUpCallDT.com, where you can subscribe, and you can subscribe, and please do so, to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon.